So we're here with Vivienne. And what is your role, Vivienne, and where do you work?
So I work at ACE Aotearoa, Adult Community Education Aotearoa. I work as an administrator for ACE Aotearoa and also help facilitate and assist facilitators for our workshops and professional development conferences, including Poipono.
Awesome. And where have you been for the last week?
I've been in Bogor in Indonesia, participating in the 2019 BLDC conference with around 40 other participants from 18 countries across the Southeast Asia and South Pacific.
So we had, like as I was saying before, there was a lot of content, some really heavy discussions. And one of the main ones that we started day one was around the Sustainable Development Goals. Can you briefly describe what the SDGs are?
So Sustainable Development Goals, from what I take it, goals are set by UNESCO. And so based around raising, I guess, overall the quality of life through things like no poverty, quality education, peace, as well as water quality, environment. It touches on all bases basically that help lift the quality of life for all.
Awesome, very good. Pretty close, but it also highlights one of the challenges is that we have all of these global platforms like UNESCO, like Oxfam and such. The SDGs were developed by the United Nations, so the global community. But again, like I was saying, it highlights the challenge of knowing all of these different platforms doing all of this work. Was it informative and did it help you understand the different platforms around the world for good advocacy for local communities?
Yes, definitely did. Johan presented the workshop in a way that wasn't, I was quite nervous, to be honest, going into it, not knowing too much about the SDGs, but in the way that Johan presented it, he explained just more in depth about each one, but specifically SDG 4 and how that underpins all the other sustainable development goals. We need quality education to ensure we...
So as you said, SDG 4 was around education, and the different people that participated this year came from different countries that work in the education sector, but you all had an opportunity to talk about your sub-regional context. So you had people from Central Asia, all the way across to the Pacific. Can you share a little bit about what you learned about the other sub-regional contexts?
Spending time with them, I learned that there are many struggles within education, and one of the big ones being women in education and in that space. So having rights to education is a big thing, especially across Southeast Asia.
And maybe you could share a little bit about one or two people that you got really close to and learned from them. Is there two people that jump to mind when you think about BRDC 2019?
Yeah, so I learnt a lot about it. It may just be a connection between our indigenous peoples. Tuba from the Philippines, he lives in his local tribal community and he helps with literacy and raising the literacy levels in that space, and just about using traditional and cultural methods to help educate the youth and the adults in his country through things like similarly to Māori, providing for your family, so learning to hunt, learning to make weapons, learning to make fire. These things resonated with me because as Māori we do similar things. So I really enjoyed my time getting to know Tupac and learning more about his community back home. Hope to visit one day and also reciprocate that hospitality and have him here.
So can you describe one activity that gave you strong lessons or learnings?
Yeah, on one of our last days down at the Botanical Gardens in Bogor, the facilitators hosted a session. Anita talked to us a bit about our leadership skills and things like that, but in the day before we'd done negotiation. So basically that morning, kind of everything went out the window during this session. We were given, some people were given balloons and the others were given pins. The instructions were the people with the pins must use the pin. The collective goal was to save as many balloons as possible. Once Anita said go, that was it. Attackers, well, people with the pin assumed attacking positions and they went to destroy all balloons. And us with the balloons, we obviously went into defense mode to protect them. But afterwards, we found out and we realized, as soon as Anita said it, the collective goal was for all of us to save the balloons. There was no instruction on to destroy them, or you must pop them, you must use the pin. So we all interpreted that in a way that obviously we could have done better. So we could have used negotiation skills, we could have worked together to come up with a better outcome at the end. There were some who managed to negotiate their way out into saving their balloons, and others who also decided, just for pure safety, not to use the pins. So the lesson I got out of that was there's always another way around it. You may not understand at first, or may not see it, hear it clearly at first, but through taking the time to think and communicate, we could have had a better outcome.
Cool. So we'll finish off with this last question. That activity was speaking to leadership and the power of the leadership, which was symbolized by the pin, and how we can use leadership for good or for bad. Your role as a leader, a young leader, rangatira amongst your community and in East Aotearoa, you're going back now home to our whenua. How do you want to be using your leadership to encourage good participation in education, but just for the good well-being of people around you?
So I guess we touched on this a little bit within just conversations among us, and I think the best way to do so is just to lead by example, and others will come along. We watched a short video about followers, and there was one leader out there who started the action, which was just dancing out of the crowd. Once one follower joined, then he gave the confidence for others to join. So long as you, I guess, if you take the action to begin with, there will always be people behind you, and collectively we could all strive to lift that. One last thing is an action plan that I've put in place for Hui Whanau is I've got to speak to the bosses, but we're looking at hosting a Wānanga Talanoa space for youth, and to try and put into place some of the things that I've learnt, as well as gather information from our rangatira about what it is that they think will help lift education amongst their peers and address other issues as well.
Okay, so from me, I say goodbye. You want to say later?
Ka kite.